Hello, testing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. So, hey y'all, welcome to Misguided Week 2. The title of this week's podcast is called The Promise. So, last week we discussed the wilderness, and basically we talked about the wilderness is that process of finding your purpose so that you're able to walk in that purpose. We talked about how the wilderness is this tough, difficult place to live in, but it's where our purpose is found. So it's highly necessary. Um, we kind of related that, or we did relate the wilderness to the process of a diamond. So basically, we talked about how the diamond starts under earth and then it's carried up to earth with volcanic activity. I'm so sorry. I had people in the background. They can see you. I'm sorry. But we talked about how the volcanic activity carries the diamond up to Earth's surface, and then it has to be broken down, and then it's polished, and then, of course, ready to sell. So the wilderness, that walk through the wilderness, that journey through the wilderness is about that process, that volcanic activity carrying the diamond up. So basically, that call on our lives, the realization of who we are, the beginning of something new for us, basically. And we talked about how the broken down uh, stage is similar to that process of letting things that should not be in us out. So, like, it could be different belief systems that we may have taken on that is not really real or true for us. Sometimes it could be friendships, sometimes it could be jobs, just anything, letting go of things that do not serve us. And then that, of course, polished and the diamond being ready to sell. So the wilderness is basically that process in between who we were into the promise. And the promise is just basically what we're striving for. So it's after the purpose is found. So the promise in that scenario will be related to the diamond. And I do want to mention that the wilderness is this magical place, right? So the reason why it's magical / blessed is because the person that we were in the beginning is not going to be the person that we are in the end. And of course, the goal is for that purpose, that person, who you are, to be in the end, to be greater, and a person who is more driven, a person who has been guided, a person who has realized who they are and is ready to walk into that purpose or walk into that promised land. So I do also want to mention that throughout the process, there are also, just like things are being broken down, there are going to be things that we should be picked up. And I'm referring to character building. So we should be developing good fruit through this process. And what I mean by good fruit, I'm basically talking about like the fruits of the spirit, and that's love, peace, joy, long suffering, gentleness, kindness, self-control, goodness, faithfulness. So these are character traits that should be developed through the process as we go through that humbling process, because it is, like I said, a humbling process. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. It's just what it is, humbling process, right? And so to talk about our promise, we're going to focus on vision. So When I say the promise, what I mean is, what do we expect after we come out of this? What are we expecting from this process? What are we expecting after we go through the wilderness? Um, and I want to give you the definition of vision, because that is our focus today, is vision. And so, after doing research, searching a couple of definitions of vision, I have the state of being able to see, the ability to think about or plan the future with wisdom or imagination. And imagination is basically the ability of the mind to be creative and resourceful. So when we imagine things, it's you have to be creative and resourceful. It's not something that, despite what our circumstances, we have to see better than what we see right now. So it's going to cause you to be imaginative. And just an example for vision, because it's like organizations have vision statements. So I'll give you an example of Heels in Motion, or when I was starting the club in high school, because I mentioned that in the last video as well. And my vision statement for that club in high school was a sisterhood of purpose-led women that was actively giving back to the community. So before I went through that process of that wilderness, or I wanted to create a program that was a sisterhood of women who gave back to the community. That's what I saw. That's what I imagined to be the effect uh, of that program, right? So, what is your vision? And I'm going to help you find your vision with this video. I'll give you a couple of reflective questions and put things in perspective for you. So, when we think about vision, we could think about our eyesight. We could think about people who have good vision, 20/20 vision. That's our average vision. Um, but there's people who, like me, have contacts because you have bad vision, right? And a lot of times when you have contacts is because of the refractive errors. And the refractive errors develop when the eye is unable to focus light directly on the retina. So there is something in the way that is getting in the way. There's something that is getting in the way of you being able to focus. So I want to ask you right now, what is in your way? What is stopping you from being able to focus on that vision or that promise that you have for yourself, right? And a lot of the things, this can look like negative thinking, so bad thinking patterns, past experiences, trauma. What is getting in the way of you being able to focus on that vision? And of course, I want you to reflect on that, because I want you to realize that it is getting in the way of you being able to focus, right? That is the whole point of us having these reflective conversations, these reflective questions, to help us realize help us bring insight to what is really going on. Just like last week, we had reflective questions about who we are, where we are. And like I said, that's to help you realize where you are right now. And now I want you to realize what is getting in your way. What is in your way? What are some of the obstacles that are in your way? I'm also going to give you some more reflective questions for this week, to help clear your vision, help give you vision, and have a plan that is going to get you to that promise. So, I have 4 questions this week. Question number 1: what are you striving for, slash, what do you want? And this is the promise. And I want you to know that a lot of the times we have our vision is limited by our circumstances. And despite your circumstances, I want you to truly think about, what do you want and what are you striving for? No matter how much money you have, no matter what your environment looks like, no matter what your family looks like, no matter your past, what do you want? If you could have anything in this world, what do you want? What are you willing to strive for? Question number 2, after you identify what do you want, are you willing to commit? All right, so think about, what does commitment look like to this thing? Are you willing to commit to that promise? Question number 3, what kind of character would you need to what kind of character would you need? A lot of times, in order for us to be ready and prepared for that promise, we have to go through character building. So it goes back to that fruit. For example, as in order for me to be a leader of a nonprofit, there are certain skills, certain character traits that I would need to possess. I need to be kind and loving because I'm going to be reaching out to people, and if I want people to join in on this initiative, I want people to join in on this community, I need to be welcoming to those people, right? It could be like leadership skills. I need to be a leader, right? Um, I may need to uh be more dedicated, be more faithful. Because with this initiative right here, I told myself that it was going to be 5 weeks. So I need to be dedicated to the idea that I'm going to get on this call every week for these 5 weeks at 6 p.m. No matter what comes up, I need to be dedicated. I need to be faithful. That is faithfulness, no matter the situation. I'm outside right now. I'm not even in town. But because I said that I'm going to do this for 5 weeks at 6 p.m. every week, I am on this call. So, what character traits do you need to possess? What type of person would you need to be? Where can you grow as a person? And question number 4, what do you need to get there? So, do you have a plan? This goes the same question. Do you have a plan? And in order to help you answer that question, I want you to think of what you need I want you to think of the things that you need that are tangible and the things that you need that are intangible. So this kind of goes into question 3 and question 4 are kind of related, because when you think of intangible, it could be like character traits, different skills. Intangible, of course, would be things that you can touch, physically touch. So maybe make a calendar, things like that. Get some certifications, get some licenses. Do you need to meet a certain person? Do you need to be a network? Do you need to create a budget? And these are just examples. So, what do you need to get there? All right. And of course, each week, I'm going to have a challenge that is going to encourage you all to be actively involved and interact with the initiative. Um, and of course, participating in the challenge could help you win a gift from Hills in Motion Programs Incorporated. You'll get one of those t-shirts as well as other things. And I call it the Royal Package, so it will be a surprise. I'm very excited to be able to give a royal package to somebody each week. Unfortunately, last week I did not have anybody to complete the challenge, so I'm going to extend last week's opportunity to this week. So next week I can give a royal package to 2 people. So you still have time to complete last week's challenge on top of this challenge. And this challenge is to write a vision statement of what you are striving for. So just like Hills in Motion, I said a sisterhood of women, purpose-led women that are giving back to the community. What does your vision for yourself, whatever you are striving for, look like? And everybody's wilderness looks different. So what we're striving for is all different. Your promise could be developing into a certain person, or your promise can be a business that you wanted to start or create. It could be a financial goal. whatever your wilderness looks like, I want you to write a vision statement of what you're striving for. And then with that vision statement, I want you to create a checklist of intangible and tangible things that you need to get there. So I want you to split it up into sections, write these are the tangible things and these are the intangible things. And remember the difference between tangible and intangible, things that you can touch versus things that it's not necessarily physical. So like it could be skills, character, things like that. And in order to qualify to receive the Royal Package this week is to, of course, comment, subscribe, make sure you're subscribed, and email Heels in Motion Incorporated or Heels in Motion Inc at gmail.com with your vision statement and one tangible thing and one intangible thing that you need to get there. And like I said last week, I'm going to leave you with a quote each day, each week. So this week's quote or scripture is, I can endure all things through the power of the one who gives me strength. And that is Philippians 4:13. So I want you to know that you can have anything. Like I said, no matter your circumstances, no matter where you came from, you have the power, you have the right to vision big for yourself. Okay? You have the right to strive for something greater than you, something greater than anything you've ever imagined. Okay? I don't want you to limit yourselves. We are walking in purpose. We are walking in our power. We are coming out new people. We are coming out bold. We are coming out stronger. We are coming out purpose led. We are walking in our purpose and we're not limiting ourselves and we're not letting anything stop us, period. Okay? So like I said, next week I will hopefully be able to choose 2 winners. And I'll see y'all next week at 6 p.m. Don't forget, all right? Bye. Bye, y'all.